Welcome to The Real Estate Show on WGBF AM with your host, Charlie Butler. This is where you'll learn to sell your home quickly and for more money. And now, the host of The Real Estate Show, the guy who guarantees to sell your home or he'll buy it himself, Charlie Butler.
Good Sunday morning, Tri-State. This is the Charlie Butler Real Estate Show. And I don't sound as good, Evie, as that the guy that does the promotion does before as we come on. You know,
I know
he sounds really good.
But
you know,
that would be Bobby, our producer.
It would be Bobby. Bobby, you sound good on that. And I got Bobby.
Thank you.
My credit.
You know, I'm a professional broadcaster, Charlie.
Of course, my not Bobby's voice, but the other voice you heard, my lovely co-host, Evie Barr.
Good morning, Charlie. How are you?
Good morning, Evie. How are you doing this morning?
I am wonderful. It's December officially.
Yeah, what is this, December 3rd? Yeah, December 3rd today.
You put up all your Christmas lights yet?
All that we put up.
Okay.
I don't get into it as much as we used to, but we usually, and we are this year, we usually go to Vegas in December for a few days.
Oh,
so
fun.
We usually do, we're going a little earlier this year, but we usually do Christmas in Vegas.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's fun. That's different. I wouldn't think of going there for Christmas.
It's packed.
I bet it's beautiful though.
It is beautiful. Some of the really large casinos that are pretty anyway have these just unreal decorations. You know,
sure. By the time I get out there in January, though, I'm sure they'll all be down. So
you're going in January then?
Yes. Waterstone Mortgage is having their annual conference in Vegas again this year. So I'm excited to go back.
From talking to Derek Danks, I think you need a keeper when you go to Vegas, from what I've heard.
I need a keeper?
That's that's just what Derek says, from other trips out there.
Now, the last time we were out there a couple of years ago, I was the first one to go back to the hotel room. But that was only on the last night there. But that was only because I had to go back, grab my bag, and immediately head for the hotel. And once I landed in Chicago, I realized I had not changed clothes. So I've learned from that experience, don't go out on the last night you're in town. So
you sound like a client of ours who, fortunately, is in Washington, D.C. And, of course, he could probably hear the podcast. But
sure.
He's one of the vice presidents, one of the largest equity funds in the world.
Uh-huh.
And he was in town to look at their properties with us. And he decided to go out with one of our clients who is known to like the nightlife, we'll just say.
Right.
Okay? So he flies out the next morning. He calls me and he says, "Can you call the hotel?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "What?" He said, "I forgot my clothes." I mean, he was.
Oh my gosh!
They were still in the drawers, so we had to FedEx him his clothes.
That's awesome.
This guy probably makes $1 million a year, or more. And
he could have just bought a new wardrobe.
Yeah, and he forgot his clothes. But anyway.
Now, one thing you said that I think is great to remind the listeners of, because I don't know if we ever have or not, but all of our recordings are on a podcast.
Yes.
That they can find real easy if they search their podcast for Charlie Butler. It will pop up the Charlie Butler Real Estate Show, and they can listen to all past recordings.
Right. And do you have that? That's on the Charlie Butler team site? Do you have that on your site?
No, I do not, but I'm working on it.
Okay. Yeah, I knew you were working on getting on the Waterstone, the local Waterstone
yes.
site, correct?
Yes. A lot of times, what I'm going to be working on is putting them on my individual Waterstone website, Evie Barr Waterstone Mortgage, on Facebook.
Yeah, and I know that when Bobby sends me, I noticed this last time they'd copied you in there.
Yes, yes.
And then they're also on the WGBF site usually, aren't they, Bobby? Okay. Bobby is shaking his head. Yes, that's radio talk for yes.
Yes.
Okay, so, but on a more serious note, you and I lost a good friend here this last week, and the real estate community as a whole did, in Ginger Tracy.
Yes.
Yeah. Ginger was she was a good friend, but outside of that, she was just a class person and just a really great realtor, great mother. I mean, I take the whole show talking about her, but she was just a great person.
Sure. And I think of Ginger, and I the word that comes to mind is vibrant. She just was this vibrant person that even though she was fighting cancer for all of those years, she still had a wonderful outlook
Oh yeah.
on
Yeah.
life, a great faith. I mean, it's very sad loss for her family, especially this time of year.
Yes, it is, and I think we both probably we know our daughter Lauren.
Yes.
And, we want to send our sincere sympathies to Lauren and the rest of Ginger's family too.
Yes.
And also in this past week, maybe a little bit over a week. I don't think it got mentioned last week, but we also lost another longtime realtor, Cindy Classy.
With FC Tucker, yes.
Yeah, and Cindy had been a respected member of the real estate community, and for many, many years, and we're going to miss Ginger and Cindy. So,
yes.
Anyway, so what's going on in the mortgage market?
The mortgage market is still great. Still lots of applications coming in, and like you and I have repeatedly talked about, even though it's the fall, winter months, we still have those serious buyers out there.
Yeah,
looking.
Yeah, I mean, same thing on our side. It's people forget. I mean, like I said, you still got, there's less people and realtors too. They're coming in the office, but the ones that are coming in the office and making their calls, they're doing business because there's people out there that want to buy houses this time of year.
Definitely. And the other exciting thing, I can't remember if I mentioned it last week or not, or Derek might have been here. He might have mentioned it. Waterstone has gotten a new FHA program where we will do credit scores down to 585 as long as we can get approval through Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae's system. And those are FHA loans that are not brokered out. A Waterstone underwriter is going to be reviewing it, so it's not going to be a super tough review like if we did have to broker it out.
So basically, for the 585, for those that don't know, if you've had and Evie, you correct me where I'm wrong here, if you've had a couple of credit issues,
sure,
where you think I can't get a loan, now for a home because I've had these things and I've got to wait a while. They may want to give you a call because you'll deal with some of those with at this point.
Yes, definitely. And if now is not the right time, I'll walk through and fully explain why it's not the right time for you to buy, and we'll set up a time frame where it can be better if you work on your credit and maybe get some more money in the bank that you'll have left over once you do the down payment. So there's multiple things that we can work through. If anyone would like to give me a call, feel free at 812-463-3199.
And if you're looking for that house for Evident Finance, give the Charlie Butler team a call. Any of our folks would be glad to help you. It's 812-430-1708. Hope that was the right number. I just gave out. I had my glasses on.
It was. I was watching.
But anyway, so we're going to take a little bit different route away from real estate today. And in the shows, I know you and I have talked about this in the past. Things that are really good for the community, we want to get out there for
definitely.
And today we've got I don't know how he's good for the community, but
wow,
we've got DA Sutton with us, and DA is a board member for the Red Cross. And how's it going today, DA?
It was going great till those last comments, Charlie.
And DA, I understand you claim Charlie as a friend.
Well, I did.
DA,
No, Charlie and I go way back. Yeah, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here this morning.
Yeah, DA and I, that comment, DA and I have known each other since high school. We were in each other's weddings, and so are still good friends. And he's a great guy and is doing great work now with the Red Cross. And DA, everybody obviously knows who the Red Cross is, or at least we think we do. You want to tell us a little bit more about what the Red Cross actually does?
Absolutely. I'd be glad to, Charlie. And, I've been associated with the Red Cross for several years in this area, Southwest Indiana, since 2012. And I'm a firm believer in the values and the mission that they are pursuing. And I thought I'd talk a little bit about the major components of the mission. Of course, the Red Cross was founded about 130 years ago. Clara Barton, folks may know that name. But basically, it's all about preventing and relieving suffering.
Right.
Depending on what the situation is. And certainly disaster relief is a major component of our mission. And right now we've got 4 major disasters nationally that folks are very much aware of. California wildfires, and then the 3 recent hurricanes.
It's amazing how quick all these things happen all at one time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you don't really realize the impact that a storm like this can make until it's after the fact.
Yeah. And
how many lives are impacted. And just to give you an idea, from the California wildfires, we've provided more than 27,900 overnight stays in emergency shelters. And we also served more than 170,000 meals to those that needed food. And then when you look at the hurricanes, the Red Cross has provided 1.3 million overnight stays. And then we've had about 6.7 meals and snacks that we have provided with the help of some other partners along the way.
Right.
So it's quite an effort to make all this happen for folks after the disaster.
And DA, now that on a lot of these disasters, they're not the headlines on the news anymore. And of course, during those times, there's always a lot of money. Our company has a charity, KW Cares, that has been very involved in this also. But what the Red Cross does goes way beyond after the headlines are gone.
Absolutely. We sent teams to Las Vegas after the shooting, and we provided mental health services for those that suffered losses there as well. But no, there's a long tail to any type of disaster that folks will be on scene for many months.
So the disasters, I think we know, we don't know how much you do, but I think that's what people associate the Red Cross with is things like what happened in Houston, what in Puerto Rico, Vegas, the wildfires, but locally, you play, the Red Cross plays a big part in the community, even when there's not a disaster, right?
Absolutely. The Red Cross provides, it's a disaster to individual families if there's a fire loss, and home fire losses are probably one of the largest causes of death that a family could face. And there's some things that the Red Cross locally is involved in, and we've got, matter of fact, this is not only a local opportunity, but we're doing this statewide and even nationwide. But we're offering free smoke alarms for families that have inoperative smoke alarms or have none at all. We will allow up to 3 free smoke alarms, and we will install them free. Matter of fact, one of the things that we have been on a mission to do is canvass some of the lower income neighborhoods to help folks and find out whether or not they have a working fire alarm or not. And a lot of folks don't realize that after 10 years, they no longer work. The battery may work, however, the substance inside the smoke alarm that determines the smoke is no longer effective.
I didn't know that.
Neither did I.
So every 10 years, you need to replace your smoke alarm.
If someone would like to get a smoke alarm from the Red Cross, where do they need to go? Who do they need to call?
Well, our office is on Stockwell. They're at the corner of Stockwell and Lloyd. The phone number they can call is 812-471-7200.
Okay.
And just tell them what you are looking for, and they will schedule a visit for you.
DA, there's you've heard this about organizations, whether it be the Red Cross or the United Way or many of the big organizations, where people say, well, I don't give to them because so much of it goes to administrative costs. I know you've heard this.
Absolutely.
So, what would you say to those people that are probably at home saying that right now?
Well, from my perspective, and certainly I wouldn't be associated with the Red Cross if I didn't believe in them,
right,
and their mission and what they're doing. But 91 to 92 cents of every dollar received goes toward the mission, not toward staff expenses or anything. But we rely heavily on volunteers, and that's one of the things that I'll like to talk a little bit about today too. Is the recruitment of volunteers, because it's so fulfilling to do that. But folks need other people's to be available for them when they are in need. And
let's face it, I don't get what organization that it is for those people that say what we were just talking about. You do have administrative costs. Everybody does.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you've got, somebody's you've got to pay somebody that's got to coordinate things and get people there. When you're dealing with an organization of any size, you got to have accounting personnel, things like this. So it's just, that's part, but 91 to 92 cents is tremendous, I think, for an organization of that size.
Yep. We're very proud of that.
And so, DA, you mentioned earlier about, but how can people help? I mean, and I guess I'm trying to get, okay, I think we all know during disaster how, or we hear it all the time, but we forget about, like you said, the house fires and the things that happen on a day-to-day basis. How can people help on a local basis with those things?
Well, certainly we have a volunteer coordinator. Her name's Sherry Miller, and she's in charge of overseeing the different volunteer services, and she would be a good one to talk more specifically with about what someone might find interesting and their area of passion, where they might fit in with their skill set. And but there some of the other things. We do the health and safety programs. We offer classes. They can certainly get certified to provide those type of training services. We do service to the armed forces, so we are involved with military families as well. So that could be somebody that reaches out to a military family that's in need. We provide services for them. One of the things we just completed was our Totes of Hope program, where we donated 375 totes full of personal care items.
Oh, wow.
We distributed those on Veterans Day. But the community came together to help support that. We had several businesses that were involved in helping us provide those items to give to military families, especially those that are low income and in need, homeless even.
So, DA, when you're talking about in need, I mean, again, people out there are going to think about even on a local level, like the house fires and things like that, or whatever. But you're also just there to help. I mean, the Red Cross is there just to help people in need. Right?
Absolutely, yeah. If there is a need, usually the need arises from some type of a tragic event,
right?
But they'll provide lodging. They'll give them some funds to help for clothing, meals, to get them on, to get them back on their feet if need be. But there's always a need for some family out there, and we don't realize how some folks live, really.
No, I know,
and they need help. They really do.
And does the Red Cross take donations of items other than just monetary donations? So donations of items in case a family does have a fire that's a total loss?
Normally,
or is it just monetary?
Normally we do not. We don't have the, I guess, logistically,
sure,
the availability to store things like that. But
sure,
now we do have some things on hand that we will get them, get folks by. But normally we do not do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now, if businesses want to donate certain services, ODA,
Absolutely.
that's a little different story.
In kind type of donations would be great.
And just as Evie just reminded me, you are listening to the Charlie Butler Radio Show on 1280 WGBF. Thank you, Evie.
Would you like me to just say it?
Huh?
Just stop you
might
and
as well.
say it?
Yeah. You made me lose my train of thought. I had a very important question here. I forgot what. Go ahead.
Well, before the show started, we were talking about blood drives as well.
Yes.
And we all know during the holiday season, there is always a definite need for additional blood, correct?
Absolutely.
And you were telling me there's storage space as well.
Yeah, we have an on-site storage facility here in Evansville for blood. But one of the things that I wanted to share around that is there's just a 42-hour shelf life for blood. So it's not like you give blood and it's going to be available.
Neither did I.
No, and that's why it's important that we think about, considering donating ourselves because of the short shelf life. And folks may not realize this, but you can give blood multiple times during a year, but you have to wait at least 56 days.
Okay.
Between the blood giving.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't realize that either.
So it will reproduce in the body.
And is this Red Cross location at Stockwell the only place, unless there's a blood drive going on elsewhere, but is that the only place that Red Cross has to go give blood any time?
Yeah, and it's not any time. There is a schedule
Okay.
That is posted on our website, and they just recently updated the schedule. Most days during the week, that's an availability. And one thing that I find very, very convenient these days with your smartphone, we do offer a mobile app for blood donors, and you can go on and schedule an appointment. You can complete, the pre-assessment questionnaire that's required when you do give blood. So it's a time saver for you and the Red Cross. So it's very, very convenient, and just go to the Apple Store or Google search.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's amazing here? I've known DA since I was 15 years old, and I've learned more today from him than I have in those 40-some years. Or at least more about stuff we can talk about on the air anyway. We'll put it that way.
Well, one thing I'll say that just goes to show you, Charlie, what you'll learn when you listen.
Touche, DA.
DA, do you have any good dirt on Charlie you can share?
Not
over the air.
Okay. We'll have coffee after.
No,
How's that?
DA and I could go back and forth, but it wouldn't stay on the air. Bobby would be pulling the plug pretty quick. And it's been a long time ago if our wives are listening too. So it's actually DA and DA was dating a girl in college who was my wife's neighbor.
Okay.
And they introduced my wife and I.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Small world.
And
that is.
His wife, Deb's, never forgiven me.
That's why I was thinking, has she ever cussed you for doing that?
And the other girl came out really good because she didn't marry DA. Okay. So
you lost your train of thought again, didn't you? Okay.
DA, I know you were in Indianapolis. For those that don't, DA's background is with State Farm Insurance. He was what was your? I know you trained and you oversaw regions and stuff. But what would you say your
my
title?
most recent title was sales leader.
Sales leader.
Before that, agency field executive, and they did some transitioning to a new role.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so in 2006, there was a major tornado here. 29 people, it seems like, lost their lives. And I remember the Red Cross was a huge factor.
Yeah,
in that.
we were able to use this facility here to set it up.
Here,
shelter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we are, for those who don't wonder what here is, we were on the 6th floor of the Fifth Third Bank building. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
But everybody just stopped. Okay.
Oh, no, we use the Stockwell location for the overnight for folks.
Right.
Overnight stays opened up for them.
I remember back in those days, I was having breakfast every morning with clients at the carousel, and you would see people coming in with Red Cross cards, that where they could eat
Vouchers.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and but yeah. So DA, what else you want to tell us about the Red Cross? What did we maybe not cover?
I'll share just a couple more items here, just so folks know. And we talked about being efficient with our dollars, and they have went through some restructuring the last couple of years to kind of get more efficient, more effective with how they distribute their resources and services. And the good news is we haven't lost any services. Actually, now we don't have necessarily a building in every location like we used to, but we have folks that live in those areas that provide services. So in Indiana, we now have 6 chapters, and the regional headquarters is in Indianapolis. This area in southern Indiana has 26 counties, and we call it the Southern Indiana chapter. Evansville is the facility the main facility for this area. But Theo Boots is our executive director. And matter of fact, she just recently returned from deployment in Florida after one of the hurricane there. And I would like to share a little bit about what I consider kind of the major need. So I'm going to start back and mention volunteers. That is so critical to how we get the job done at the Red Cross. We just can't do it with staff. That's not going to get it done. So we just rely so heavily on volunteers. And folks may not realize this, but we also provide internships for college students if they want to work, as part of their curriculum. We can take a look at that and visit with them about that. Matter of fact, my son's wife, when she was going to college, she interned one summer there.
And also, I would think for high school students that need to get their community service work
Absolutely.
in, can you accept high school students as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can put somebody to work just about doing anything.
Just show up and you'll find a job for them.
Absolutely. The biggest impact I'll say though is the financial support, and without contributions from individuals, from corporations, from other organizations, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And I tell you what, the country, in my opinion, would be in trouble if they didn't have an organization like the Red Cross to rely on.
Absolutely.
If someone wants to make monetary donation, can they go online to do that?
Absolutely. We have a website. Yep. They can go through the Red Cross website to do that. And
is there a specific Southern Indiana chapter website?
There is. I think it's called the Southern Indiana Red Cross.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Really creative there, Evie. Okay. DA, we're down to about a minute left. I wanted to ask you real quick, though. I mean, you've recently retired from State Farm about a year ago, and you have embarked on a new career.
Well, yeah, I took about a year off, and it was time for a change. 36 years with State Farm, a great ride, great organization, and appreciate all that organization has done for me and my family. But I felt like it was time for a change. So after my year, I decided to go to work with Legion's Bank as a training consultant.
It's wonderful.
All right. D.A. Sutton, board member of the Red Cross, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Charlie and Evie.
And Evie, we're just about out of time.
Have a great Sunday.
Have a great Sunday, Evie. And Rush is next. Have a great Sunday, everyone. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Show on WGBF AM with the guy who guarantees to sell your home or he'll buy it himself, Charlie Butler. Join us every week at this time to find out how to sell your home quickly and for more money. For more information, email cbutler@kw.com or visit charliebutlerteam.com.